I want to make sure that I don't overlook anything, but I would love to answer your questions. I'm here for you. If I don't know the answer, I will absolutely do everything I can to research it and get all that out to you. I love the beauty industry. I love hair. I love you. And I just want you to love doing hair. We are in one of the best careers ever. So don't forget that. Okay, I'm going to take, I should face this way, jeez. My nose to nape parting. And now I'm just gonna take horizontal sections. Now I am gonna slightly angle them to where they're not all the way horizontal. They are slightly on an angle. So I like to always say an Aveda A, right? But not as severe. And the reason for that is that I do want to preserve the length towards the front. So I'm going to check my side for balance. My guest head is slightly tilted forward for this. Until I get to the occipital. And then my guest head will 100% be. So I'm going to establish my guide. Making sure I'm standing shoulders length apart. I'm going to move this up. Because we're on our feet for 14 hours a day. We want to be comfortable, right? And just cutting square. I'm staying in my first position, which is my feet and my shoulders are shoulders. My feet and shoulders are shoulder length apart. Let's try that again. My feet are shoulders length apart, so I have really nice balance there. And I'm not going to move from this section until I am completely happy with where my guide is. And I think that that's something that if you really are meticulous from the beginning, throughout, if you stay true to that guide, you never have anything to worry about. I do find it easier when, I really love this Elevate comb. Yeah, because why is Park? That's why. Going to follow my guide. Now that I got to that occipital bone. Now my partings are going to start wrapping all the way around the head. They're not going to start getting vertical. They are going to stay horizontal. Now I am, once I get to the ear, I am going to start directing everything square back. So rather than stepping on the side and continuing my line, I am staying behind it and bringing the hair back to me. So direction equals length. So yes, if we are directing that front hairline back, then the hair towards the front of the face will be slightly longer. And I am doing that because she told me that she wants to preserve all of her length. So I told her, why not? After a long day at a great day at the Institute, I start to think that these mannequins talk. I mean, I don't know any different, right? They could. So same thing, staying really nice and square, bringing everything back to me. Nothing fancy. Do the same thing to this side, and then we're gonna start our layers, and then that's really gonna be it. You're doing excellent camera work, dear. Alright, so now to do the face frame, I'm going to create diagonal partings that start from the front hairline and go towards the ear and on a diagonal. I'm going to establish my guide determining on how short my guest wants her face frame. Again, I'm saying that this is for someone who wants to keep everything long. So I'm going to establish my guide by first taking and checking to see where I'd like it to fall. I want it pretty long. I want to reserve this mannequin so that I can cut it over and over again for my lovely students. So I will keep it long. So once I determine where I want the length to fall, I am going to hold it 90 degrees and pull it directly to me and cut palm to palm. Then as your angle starts to drop and takes the roundness of the head, we're going to change our finger position from pulling it directly to us 90 degrees. Sorry, don't change our finger position yet, but we are going to then now start angling our fingers so that we can preserve the length. So anything that falls out, you want to let that fall out. Sometimes Stacy Spears, shout out to you really quickly, how many times I have heard her say, it's not sometimes about what you cut in a haircut, it's about what you don't cut in a haircut. And that is so true. If it doesn't reach, don't make it. It's not supposed to. So again, same thing. Checking for balance. It's not going to be this overly layered haircut. Now, as we work towards the ear, now, as we start working towards the top of the head, our position is going to...
Todd says, when in doubt, don't cut it out.
It's true, though! It just be like that sometimes. It's so true. Especially, I've always loved the basics, but now really coming back to the Institute, it's just so true. It's like we try to force these things, right? So as we're taking this, I'm just taking it at comb elevation. So as we work through the top of the head, obviously our elevation is going to increase. What's going to happen is that because we don't have, it's not an aggressively layered technique right now, a lot of this hair back here is not going to reach. So our finger position now will change, and we'll be cutting above our fingers. So no confusion there. There's my guide. Now you can go through, and this is something that you could choose to point cut, or you could cut straight across. Now that is going to be determined on what you want to see. If you're wanting a more diffuse line, I'd say go in and point cut. But if you're just starting out with doing hair, go in and put your line in first. You know, a really, really, really big thing to remember, because I do know that we have some students from the Institute here in New York tuning in. It's really important that you build a shape before you go in and try and texturize a shape. So to me, I think a lot about building a home. You don't go in and put up walls and paintings and things of that, right? You go in and you put your foundation in first, and you put to make sure that you have all, that the bones are good. Then you can go in and customize that afterwards. So for those of you who are just starting, I would really suggest that you don't go in and soften a line, create a line, start to see that shape so that you know what you're getting rid of. So you're going to take these sections all the way. I'm doing okay on timing. I'm no longer panicking. And we're just going to continue to elevate up. You're going to notice now I hardly have anything to cut because, again, this is not an overly aggressive layering technique. Your sections, again, are staying angled all the way until you make it until that center part. But like I said, a lot is really not going to reach, and that is because our layers are not short. Now, if you took your layers significantly shorter, then by all means, you're going to end up having a lot of hair fall out, and it's not necessarily going to be that much of a face frame as it would end up being just a layered haircut, right? Or a layered throughout. This is still a layered haircut because we are elevating the hair. So keep working up. Again, there should really not be much hair here as I expected. It's just those little guys. Alright, and then none of this reaches because we didn't end up doing an aggressive face frame. So same thing over here. I'm really sorry for those of you who I'm speeding through quickly. I just want to make sure that we cover. So there's my guide. No confusion there. Directing everything 90 degrees. All that fell out didn't reach. So there was really no need for me to cut that. When in doubt, drop it out. Is that what you said, Tom?
When in doubt, don't cut it out.
When in doubt, don't cut it out. That is what it was. Alright, so after that we go in and do the blow dry. Now, I've done all that for you.
Todd says you're doing great.
Oh, Todd, thanks, dear. Alrighty, so ta-da! The part we've all been waiting for, right? So our technique, what we did with the foil placement back to back to back, everyone watching, those who are asking about back to back, what it does is it definitely gives you that really full coverage. However, I still feel like when you part it or you move it, you don't have those really harsh lines, but it does really add those pops of color and just really that brightness. But I do believe that it's a super soft, really grown out for your balayage pieces that we went in and put in there. So this would be what we would really want to focus on because we want our guests to come visit us, right? We want our guests to come back into our chair. And so if we just did balayage pieces that grew out like this throughout the whole head, we may not see them as frequently. And although we love that for them, you know, we have to think about our business too. And so I think it's really important to know that. So one last thing I really want to throw in there with you all, and I have plenty of time, I do want to talk to you all about velour. I love velour, and I love velour for a multiple of reasons, but being that I only have 15 minutes. Let me get through all of it. It is a great, great, great asset right now to use, especially to those who don't want to color their hair. Because we immediately go into, okay, we got to highlight, we have to do this, but we don't. We have Vemour that we can pop in one box, which takes 15 minutes, so there goes for our add-on service of how we can really get that. And the reason that we have all of this brightness through here is indeed not highlights, it's actually Vemour. So those of you who've used Vemour, you know how easy it is. I've saved one piece so that I can show you all how easy and user-friendly it is to go ahead and pop it in. So a one-box application, sorry, wrong side. A one-box application is going to end up being 6 sandwiches, and each sandwich has 2 pieces. So you're going to go in and how you place them. It's really great when you start doing Vemour. You go through these really great classes. Shout out to Patty for that. And to a single box application, guys, it's really makes no sense for you not to want to go ahead and just add it to an add-on. It's easy, it's user-friendly, and it helps you really get that brightness, especially if you have that guest who you can't lift past an 8 copper. We all know that they exist. So this is a really good way of doing this. So how you lay the first 3, they end up just slightly staggering, and they start from behind the ear. I know this is not really the best depiction of it, but on a mannequin, the space is so tiny. So typically you want to start a little bit further back, but I did want to try to put my pieces a little closer to the face so that you guys could really actually see how much that color really pops. I think my husband is going to make a comment that I keep saying, pop of color. So you're welcome for that. Alrighty. So you'll just go in, you want a really nice clean section. You want to clean all those little hairs. You don't want the hairs to be messy or anything of that nature. As you're placing this, you want to be mindful because any loose hair that gets grabbed by this can actually cause breakage, and unfortunately, you know, not everyone is mindful of their application. So let's definitely make sure throughout this we are really mindful. So we'll apply it first. You don't want to set it directly onto the scalp because obviously that's going to harm that hair that's growing out. We don't want to do any of that. Not harm the hair, but like we want to create optimal still growth, okay? So once we lift up, you want to make sure that you clean up all of these little loose hairs. This is what can just make them really uncomfortable. So it's really, really, really important that you just take a little bit of time and you clean it up. Because the tape that exceeds the ends will grab those little hairs and it can be a little uncomfortable, and no one wants to just sit here and have their hair pulled, right? Just taking our time and really making sure to clean that up. Then you'll take your other little sandwich. You'll match up your corner. Whoa. You'll match up your corners. You'll really want to make sure that you sandwich it and get all those air bubbles out. And then, don't worry. Oops, sorry, Lexi. I'm not plugged in. Everything was so smooth. Okay. Look how messy she is. Okay. So how I went through and styled Miss Josephine was just with the big 2-inch barrel. Marcel, my go-to. She's probably not on. Yeah, it's gonna be a minute. I went through, twisted it out. She has to be a little hotter for this. I still have 10 minutes. I'm good. I hope that this was helpful. I know, again, it was kind of nothing crazy out of the ordinary, but I do want everyone to know that we have so many tools here in the Aveda network that we can really maximize our business with, and I just want to make sure that we really think about it, from Vemora lash extensions to Vemora tape-in extensions, from all of our techniques that we learn from our great educators within the system. There's a lot of love in TLC here, and we love to share our knowledge, and we want to make sure that you all feel supported in that as well.
Tanya Edmond says, how long do these last? Any special care instructions?
Sure. So they're going to last with how long your hair is going to end up growing out, right? So it's going to be just as if you were going in and retouching up a new growth. But the actual boxes themselves, I have had them in myself. For those of you who know, I used to whip my pony back and forth. I actually had my actual hair for a year, and I took really great care of it. So one box lasted me an entire year. But it is recommended to, be replaced whenever we can't hold on to those little bitty hairs that are left in the extension. So, but I mean, if you take really good care of it, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get around the question. I don't have an exact number to tell you. Mine lasted for a year. I know some people who got a new box every X amount of times. I will 100% research this for you and get back to you and let you know what the exact recommended is. I apologize that I don't know that offhand, and I don't want to misguide you in how long it should be. Hopefully Patty could be on here and she could just pop in and be like, I got you, Sean. Where are you, Patty? Really use you here.
Todd says, thank you for your inspiration from Dallas Aveda Institute.
Yay, thank you.
What up, Dallas?
What do you know? Shout out to Dallas. You guys have helped us out so much. And Houston and all the institutes have really, really helped us with, the circumstances at hand. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. You guys are incredible. This is how I went through and curled my guest, Miss Josephine. I only have one more little section, and then I would love to show you the true end result. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys will have me back on here. Please feel free to message me, DM me on Instagram if you have any questions, comments, and or concerns with anything and you want to know. You just need to know. But I will do that research for you on the Vemores, and I will make sure that I message you back to that, if someone hasn't already come back and said that. So quickly, I have 5 minutes left. I can do this. I would just shake Miss Josephine out and just really shake her out a little bit. Run your hands through it, and now you can really see the nice dimension that you got from those Vemores. It really makes a difference, especially for those who are really needing a little bit of volume to add that, or really you just want to get those really light pieces but don't really want to compromise their hair to get there. So I want to thank you all again, and stay well, treat people kind, and have a really great day. Thank you guys so much. Take care.
I don't know how to finish.